Good evening, and welcome to another model railway video. The first thing you might notice is I'm building a set, just out of some bits of scrap wood. I thought it would make the place look a little bit tidier. I mean, at least tidier than my work table. I suppose I could tidy my work table before I make videos, but, I'm a busy man. Alright, so let's get on to the meat of things. Now this coach here is actually kit built. It's made by a company called Budget Model Railways. They have a YouTube channel that's really worth a look if you enjoy the sort of thing I do. They produce a range of 3D printed body kits designed to fit onto inexpensive chassis. As the name suggests, their whole deal, their bag, is inexpensive model railways. So I thought I'd give them a try. The coach is of particular interest to me because what I am working on, among other things, is an industrial micro layout, and what a lot of industrial complexes had was one or two small coaches that they'd use for visitors, and this is absolutely perfect. It looks like just the sort of thing that an industrial workshop might throw together for VIPs. Now, I have deviated somewhat from the instructions, and that's why this coach maybe looks a little rougher than it should. It's actually a really well-designed kit. If you build it as it's intended to be built, it goes together really well. I, however, did not build it as it's intended to be built. And I'll explain that in detail. So, first of all, it's designed to go on this sort of chassis. This is your basic Triang Hornby, not very detailed chassis. It's got these four, don't know if you can see these four kind of peg things. The body is designed to fit onto those. I did not use that kind of chassis. I instead used the brake van chassis, and the reason for that is that it comes with footboards. I figured that as my coach is being taken around factories, it's being used to take VIPs around factories, you'd want the footboard so that people can get on and off. I also swapped out the ends. Now, this is a personal opinion. This is the end that comes with the coach, which to me, it looks a bit. It looks a bit like a goods wagon to me. I wanted something more coachy, so what I did was I actually made new ends out of card. I drew around the original end, cut a new end out of card, and fitted it. Now, it's not perfect. As you can see, there's a bit of what would you call it? There's some extra space there. I've added these sort of vertical beams out of styrene strip. They're not entirely straight, I don't think, but you can't see that most of the time. But that's an optional extra that I've done. Another thing I did was the coach doesn't come with glazing, so hold on a sec. I got some packaging like that and cut out some windows. The trouble is, because the kit as designed goes together so well, there isn't really room to put glazing in. So as a result, the roof doesn't quite sit on there properly. hence the fact that it's a little rough around the edges. As I say, if you build it as intended, then it should go together just fine. It's, as I say, very well designed in that regard. What else? Well, I've added a couple of passengers, which I don't think... Oh no, you can just about see one there. Yeah, added a couple of passengers, which are just these very cheap figures. You can get them on eBay, Amazon, any online retailer. Very cheap, not very detailed, but if they're sitting in a coach, you can't really tell anyway. Okay, so that's what I've done with my coach. Let's talk about the coach in general. As I say, it represents very good value for money. It's a fiver for the body, goes together really easily, fits really well onto this chassis. So yeah, it's a good design, especially for the cost. What I would say is that the print is a little rough in places. For instance, I had to go around the window frames with a model knife and a file to clean off the flash. I also sort of tried to smooth the roof off a bit. I mean, it still looks kind of rough, especially if you have disobeyed the instructions as I did. With a coach like this, it's important, I think, to think in terms of what it is and what it isn't. Now, what it is an inexpensive freelance model coach designed for micro layouts. What it is not is a super detailed model of a prototype. It doesn't pretend to be, so it would be unfair to think of it in those terms. It has pretty good detail for the price. What I would say it's ideal for is it would be good for a light railway, for an industrial complex like mine. If you wanted to keep the end, a possibility that occurs to me is the idea of a heritage railway. Because what a lot of those did when they were short of coaches is they would build coaches of their own, often using old goods vans. So, that's what you could do. So that is the Budget Model Railways coach. I have another one which I'm planning to build at some point in the near future, and by the near future I mean whenever I get around to it. So, I hope this has given you an idea of the coach, its pluses and minuses. It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but it is exactly what it purports to be, and I'm pretty pleased with it. So, I hope you found that useful. If not, well, oh, look over there.